Everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about right-of-way maintenance of power lines and some do's and don'ts when planting trees in your yard. You remember the two big Bradford Pear trees that used to be in my front yard? For those who watch my storm videos may recognize these things, especially that one, because it was in view of the play touch camera on the porch. But yeah. So I got this property back in 2016, and these trees were already here. They've been here for probably 20 years at least, and they were obviously planted by somebody. This place used to be a rental property, so I assume it was either the one of the previous tenants or the landlord planted these things. So my property sits inside of a curve, so the power line comes in a bit further across my yard than, let's say, other yards in the neighborhood. These trees were almost directly under the power lines, or just to the left by a little bit. Yeah. So at least I want to say the past 2 or 3 times that EnergyUnited did right-of-way maintenance on their power lines, these things got cut back quite a bit because of their location under the power lines. And I tell you, whoever planned these things right under the power lines did not do much thinking. It's something that's commonly overlooked by both homeowners and landscapers. I see this all the time. Big trees, or soon to be big trees, are planted right under power lines. Don't be mistaken that when you buy that little tree from the nursery, that cute little tree, don't forget the fact that it will grow into a humongous tree and be up in the power lines. And that power line this one carries 7,200 volts. And I'll never forget, last year I could actually hear electricity passing through the tree to ground. So it's also a pretty dangerous thing when these things get big and get up in the power lines. Let's say if your kids climb up in a tree, they can get electrocuted. So anyways, obviously EnergyUnited contracted Asplundh, or however you pronounce their name, to come out and do right-of-way maintenance on their power lines. And I got a placard last week on my door that they're going to be doing tree trimming, and I authorized them to go ahead and say, hey, if you think it's better, just go ahead and take them out completely. Because I'll be honest, they were getting pretty big. They were a pain to deal with when cutting grass. They were right under the power line. And eventually, when I replaced a single wide with a bigger house, either a double wide or a modular, they would be cut down at that point anyway. I decided, you know what, I got to see one last bloom this spring from these things, and you know what, I'm done with them. So, while this may be a little bit all over the place, it's why it's important that if you decide to plant some trees in your yard, look up for power lines. Don't plant your trees right under the things. Those power lines may seem harmless, you know, they don't make any noise. Unless a tree limb falls into one, then yeah, you'll hear some noise. Just like last year when kudzu shorted out that pole down there. Caught that on video. Yeah, while those power lines may seem harmless, they're not. I mean, 7,200 volts can pass down through these trees and to you if you're under them for any reason. Anyways, it's starting to get dark. And yeah, Mother Nature's playing April Fool's jokes on us. You can see I have a fire going in the wood stove. I just fired it up a few minutes ago. It's April 2nd, but it's already down into like low 40s out. We had snow this morning. It snowed for like an hour or two this morning. And while the weather case camera battery had done gone dead because I started it late last night, I did get some nice footage down in Charlotte today. But anyways, back to the point here. I mean, look how large these trees have gotten. You can tell by the trunks how big they were. They were huge. So when you go purchase some brand new young trees from the nursery, they may be nice and cute at the time, but don't ever mistake the fact that they grow and they get huge, and they can end up in the power lines. See, had the power company, or I'm sorry, Asplundh, the tree trimming contractor, had they just trimmed around the power lines, what was left of those trees will be leaning right toward this place. And in the event of a bad storm, well, that wouldn't have been good. So that's also something to consider. You have to consider how big the things will get. Just because that tree is tiny when you buy it at the nursery does not mean it's going to stay tiny. So always, when you plant trees, be mindful of power lines. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and keep this in mind when you go to plant trees in your yard. Thanks for watching.